Hi everyone, welcome to our weekly video newsletter. I'm James Anderson, the CEO of RioDeFi, and every week I share the latest updates of what's been happening within our ecosystem. This week's video is going to focus on some of our recent integrations, partnership activities, and the latest tech development updates. For our new friends on this channel, RioDeFi is a blockchain technology company whose mission is to accelerate the mass adoption of digital assets by bridging the gap between traditional and decentralized finance. In order to increase the functionality of RioChain, we seek to offer real-time data feeds, decentralized databases, and fiat on and off ramps. So we've utilized partnerships to help achieve those ends. This week we announced the planned integration with Chainlink, who is one of the leading blockchain projects whose price oracles and decentralized data feeds are robust and have been in development for over 6 years. We also recently announced strategic partnerships with Aleph.im, Kylan Network, and Bluezell. In addition to that, we're working with Hex Trust, MoonPay, Vald, BCW Group, and a number of others to create the best possible ecosystem for bridging traditional finance with DeFi. Now, the ability to provide data from the outside world into smart contracts in a trustless manner is a bedrock of the blockchain industry and DeFi. We're very delighted to integrate with Chainlink to provide our developers and those building within the RioDeFi ecosystem with secure and reliable price data feeds and market coverage, ultimately enabling the creation of a suite of financial services that can be used to trigger the movement of large amounts of on-chain value. So Chainlink is by far the leader in the Oracle space, and we're very excited to incorporate these decentralized data feeds into the RioChain ecosystem. Another partner that we're working with is Aleph.im, which is a French startup renowned for providing decentralized storage and computing applications as well as DeFi protocols. What they do is similar in ways to AWS or Firebase, but it's decentralized. So they use various nodes to share application data across the world, and particularly this is important for network messages that are recorded on chain. So the integration of Aleph.im solutions will benefit both teams building their dApps on RioChain because of the decentralized storage and database features, but also because of the network that allows for this storage of, for instance, user profiles and messages across chain, which can be especially useful for social media applications or financial messages that need to be sent from one blockchain to another. So especially for where we see the space moving with blockchain systems starting to interact with traditional financial institutions, we think solutions like Aleph will be very beneficial for developers building financial applications on top of RioChain, including ourselves. Another partnership we're excited about is Kylan Network. So we announced this a couple weeks ago, and our communities had such a positive response that we had an interview with Dylan Dudney, the CEO of Kylan Network, to discuss many of the ways we can work together over the coming years, as well as the issues that have been traditionally faced by other blockchain projects in the space. Things like the blockchain trilemma of security, decentralization, and scalability. How do you achieve all three things at the same time without sacrificing too much on any one of them? Many blockchain projects have not yet achieved sufficient scalability to compete with the traditional financial networks, which is something that we at RioDeFi believe is incredibly important in order to take blockchains to the next level. So to further engage with our followers, we asked them to post any questions that they had, and we picked the most relevant questions and dedicated some time to answering them. Now, since we're talking about new communication channels, I'm also happy to announce that our newsletter videos are now available on Youku, which is the Chinese version of YouTube. This is to address growing demand from our Chinese communities. And finally, when it comes to project development updates, we're still testing the generic asset bridge, which uses a custodial process with our partner Hex Trust in order to move assets across chain. So this means users can deposit Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT, and eventually other blockchain assets onto RioChain to then get the RioChain version of those assets, the RST88 version of those assets, which can be sent at the speed of RioChain, which is 2 seconds. The gas fees are much lower. They can be used in a number of applications that we're building, including Rio Wallet, Rio Pay, Rio Finance, which will include some things like DeFi pools where users will be able to earn rewards based on staking. So we're very excited about that, as well as anyone who's building apps within our ecosystem, such as Mantra DAO, can have access to these cross-chain assets, which will be very beneficial in achieving greater scalability and more interoperability between blockchains. Our Rio Wallet will soon be ready to onboard digital assets of other blockchains and swap between the ERC20 and RST88 versions of RFuel and Ohm. Now, at the beginning of RioChain, we are using a proof of authority consensus mechanism, which uses a series of trusted nodes within our network. However, within the next few months, we'll be opening a nominated proof of stake testnet for people to come and try out the validation of RioChain, and they'll be rewarded for doing so. From there, once we've thoroughly tested the NPOS testnet, we will launch the nominated proof of stake mainnet, which will be similar to how Polkadot and Kusama did a phased rollout of their blockchains in order to make sure that they're secure and have appropriate on-chain governance mechanisms to prevent any sort of gaming attacks or economic attacks on the chain. So that's all for this week's newsletter. Thank you all for listening. We really appreciate your time. Go ahead, like and subscribe to the video, and that way you can stay in touch with us. We also encourage you to follow us on Telegram at RioDeFi Official. Thank you all so much. Stay safe and take care.